All right, Night Owls, we are broadcasting live from sunny Southern California on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM. Tonight we got a great show for you guys. Tonight it is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. I want to welcome you all to Escape the Simulation Radio. I'm Jess. Here I am. Super excited. You guys are going to love this episode. Tonight, we have a guest that has been requested many times from several people, including Tommy G. But we've had a lot of people, ask for me to bring Micah Dank back on. A lot of people love his work. Got a lot of messages about his show. So I said, what the hell? Let's get Micah on. So tonight we are bringing him back in just a little bit. We're going to be premiering the interview with Micah Dank. And tonight he will be discussing 6,000 years of astrotheology. Now, because Micah couldn't make it, this is pre-recorded, but I am live. I'm here. We're going to be taking a journey back through 6,000 years of various religious texts in a very short amount of time. So get your notebooks ready. If you have any questions for Micah, drop them in the chat and I will forward them on to Micah. But before we start down this journey back 6,000 years, I do want to thank all the amazing patrons of the show. I want to thank Tommy, G, Anthony, Clown Baby, and any other patrons that wish not to be named. Thank you guys so much for your monthly support. It means a lot to the show. Also, if you guys want to support and donate, you can help support the show and the station actually by heading over to fringe.fm and clicking on that donate button. Every month, the station needs to raise money to be able to, help keep the apps running just like the show. So if you want to help support the show, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com and search Jess Roki. You can also look at our merch store. It's here on YouTube, or if you head over to jessrogi.info, there's a link to the merch store there. We are going to have the slideshow up soon. And if you guys haven't sent your pictures, and send them in, because I'm going to make the slideshow up of everybody who's bought merchandise. I'm super excited. And one last way, and I'm seeing people do this, and I'm super happy that you can support the show, is to retweet it, leave comments on social media, like the post. All those things help. So thank you guys very much for hanging out tonight. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, head over to this YouTube and subscribe. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, you could also be chatting in our gilded chat room, which is just like Discord, but a little bit better. So our guest tonight, before I do that, let's say hello to the chat. Let's see here. What have I done? I need 3 screens, guys. 2 screens is not enough. We got Sylvain in the house tonight. What's up, Sylvain? Hello to Chris Jones. Howdy, my friend. Good to see you. Hello, Sarah, my flock. Good to see you. Tommy G. What's up, Tommy? Enzo. What up, Enzo? Good to see you. And thank you for staying up late with me last night, Enzo. I know we had a fun time last night. Hey, Shaky Girl. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. See if I caught everybody here. Boom, boom, boom. So tonight it's going to be a great show. We are very excited. And I guess I can announce it now. Micah has such a wide breadth of work that he's put together that we are going to be having Micah on twice a month, and he's going to be talking about his astrotheology. He said over 50 hours of presentations that he wants to share with us. So we are going to school and learning about astrotheology with Micah Dank. So he will be on twice a month, starting this month. This is his first time. And next time, he's going to be talking a deeper dive into astrotheology from the beginning. Oh, thank you, Enzo. So without further ado, let's hope that this works, because this is the first time we've done this. Let's hope. Let's hope that this works. So Micah Dank was born in 1983 in Oceanside, New York. From a young age, he always wanted to be a writer, coming from a family of writers. His father was a producer and radio news editor at CBS News in Manhattan, and his grandfather was a producer at CBS News. When Dan Rather wrote his autobiography, he listed Micah's grandfather by name as the person he told the news station about Kennedy's death. Micah was an actor in high school and became interested in writing in the 12th grade. His teacher from Reed Russell. From there, he majored in English at SUNY Albany, and he transferred to CUNY Hunter College in Manhattan to earn his bachelor degree in language, literature, and criticism. It wasn't until he moved to Boston for a new job that he became interested in the esoteric sciences, including, just to name a few, and these topics are what Micah covers in his books: astronomy, astrology, astrotheology, out-of-body experiences, Akashic records, remote viewing, religions, capstones of the pyramids, secret societies, their secrets, channelers, DMT monitoring, lucid dreaming, acoustic levitation, conspiracy theories, jetpack propulsion, and physics and quantum physics and psychology, computer hacking, Antarctica, spiritual guides. And for the next 6 years after that, he read 4 hours a day about all those topics, and he has taken them all and woven them into the series of books called Into the Rabbit Hole series, which is now at book 8, which you guys can find on Amazon. So, without further ado, let's see if this works. I hope it does. Let's do that. There we go. 1 second, guys. I don't have enough screens here. I'm like running out of room. All right, so let's hope that this works. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to bring on Micah Dank. Welcome, Micah, to the show. I'm so glad that you could come back. It's been a long time.
Oh, it's been forever. We talk behind the scenes though, but it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, but not a long time. Like we've talked in email and things like that. But you're like one of the people that I constantly get listeners writing in and reaching out to me and saying, like, we want Micah back on. So I said, I got to make the people happy. We got to bring them the knowledge. You know, this helps to break people free of the programming that, you know, we've been given.
Right.
So that's why I think it's so important to have you on. Can you tell us what we're talking about today? I'm so excited.
So this is kind of a newer presentation that I'm doing. This is one of my latest ones. I've given it a couple times. I was just on a Rex Bear's leak project yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna do it with you today. It's 6,000 years of astrotheology. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you one example of astrotheology from 3 Sumerian texts, 2 Babylonian texts, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, all the Gnostic texts, the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Gnostic text, the Quran, and I'm going to show you how it's the basis of literally everything.
Well, I'm ready. That's like, this is going to be 6,000 years in a very short amount of time. So let's get into it. Can you share? Are you able to share screen?
Yeah, let's see. I use StreamYard too. So
okay, so it should work. Let's see here.
Okay, Jess, honey, I can't see you when I share this. I can only see my presentation.
Okay.
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 Keep me posted. So the first time in human history this has ever been put together is what I titled this. And it is.
Should I put it on screen now?
Yes, please.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Here we go.
All right. So what I've been told by a lot of people, which is a very humbling feeling, by the way, is that I could take supremely complicated topics and I can break it down so that a kid could understand it. That's kind of my gift. I'm very good with words. And I'm going to show you guys how this is how everything has been encoded. So what I'm going to do, Jess, is I'm going to teach you guys the 12 signs of the zodiac. I'm going to teach you the astrotheology, the mythology, the stories behind it. Each zodiac sign has keywords that are related to the zodiac, and you will see how they make sense as I go along. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those lists of words that I gave you, the keywords that represent the signs. and we're going to find them in scriptures. And we're going to make patterns in the heavens, and it's going to outline the sky for us.
Okay. I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready. I got my notebook so I can take notes.
Oh, you're going to learn. Okay. So I start with Aquarius. And the reason I start with Aquarius is because it's kind of the beginning of our year. Now, our new year starts January 1st, December 31st, which is stupid because in all of human history, the new year was in the spring. Aries is the beginning of the year, March 21st. In the Egyptian times, it was in Virgo. So what happens is the sun leaves Leo, and then a brand new sun, because it's the new year, a new sun is born of a virgin. So that's where it goes back to. So the story of Aquarius is the story of Zeus and the young boy. That's where this comes from. So Zeus saw a 14-year-old blonde boy on Earth. They were very specific about those two things. And what he did is he thought he was beautiful and he wanted him in heaven. The boy's father wouldn't let him go. So Zeus bargains with the boy's father. And I guess after a while, realizing it's Zeus, he gives him what he wants. He gives him like land, animals, money, that kind of stuff. So the boy goes up to heaven. While in heaven, just like in this picture, he is serving the gods a drink called ambrosia, which nowadays is just a tangerine whipped cream salad.
Yes.
But ambrosia used to be the nectar of the gods. This is what the gods drank, and day in and day out of this water pitcher, he'd pour it for them. Well, what happens is one day he gets fed up with doing this, just doing it day in and day out. Remember, he's 14, right? So he goes to the side of heaven and he pours it out, just like in this picture, and it causes a flood on Earth. That's where the Greeks get their flood story from. Now, Zeus was going to punish him because Zeus is a very angry, sexual, jealous, all the above. But in a moment of rare reflection, Zeus decides not to punish him, and instead he immortalizes him as the constellation Aquarius. That's the story of Aquarius. Okay. So there's key words for Aquarius. Remember, look at the picture on the right. So there's words like son of man or man, because Aquarius is the sign of the man, whereas Virgo is the sign of the woman. Baptism, because this is how you baptize someone. Water pitcher, because this is the water pitcher. Fountain. Remember, the Greeks and the Jews were contemporaries at the same time. Lots of Greeks built fountains that looked like Aquarius. Stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea. These are water bodies. Now, Aquarius in astrology is an air sign. However, because there's water in the picture, they used it to encode water bodies. And the same goes for Pisces, which is actually a mutable water sign. It's a sign of the two fish in the water. So stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea, all that stuff still applies. Now, whether they're talking about Aquarius water or Pisces as the water literally depends on the patterns that it makes in the heavens. We'll get there. Aries is the ram. And in Aries, you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, a 12-hour night. There's also 3 different Passovers that take place during Aries. The first and the oldest is the astrotheological one, which is on March 21st, Nisan 14 in the Jewish calendar. The sun will pass over the equator and start to make its way back to the height in the summer solstice. In Christianity, the Passover is changed, and it's called the resurrection of God's Son, S-U-N. The Jewish Passover is when the angel of death passes over all the Jewish households in Egypt. And anyone that doesn't have the lamb, remember it's a lamb, and the lamb is a baby ram. Anyone that doesn't have the lamb's blood, signifying they're the people of Aries, the Jews, smeared on the doorpost, their firstborn sons get killed. So keywords: ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn. Taurus is the bull. And when you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull. It's as above, so below. You see the bull in the sky, in heaven, you put the plow on the bull on earth, so that you can plant the seed so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. Now, we have John Deere equipment that plow now, right? However, back in the day, they used a bull. So bull, ox, calf, or cow. Cow is the female bull. You're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. This is another Greek story. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, you're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab, and it's the sideways moving creature. So can you see me?
I can see you.
All right, so here's what the sun does. Starting on December 25th, it's going to rise a degree on its axis. Then on December 26th, it's going to rise additional degree. 27th, an additional degree. Every day, an additional degree, till it hits June 21st. When it hits June 21st, that's the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year. It's the shortest night of the year. Then what it's going to do is it's not going to rise an additional degree on the 22nd or lower a degree, but it's going to walk sideways like the crab for 3 days. Then on June 25th, it's going to lower a degree. Then on June 26th, it's going to lower a degree. Now the nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. When it hits December 21st, that is the winter solstice. The sun barely comes out. It doesn't crack the horizons. The ancients would look out and say the sun was dead. And then it walks sideways like the crab for 3 days. So now God's son was dead for 3 days. Where on December 25th, or the birth of Christ, or the birth of Mithra, or the birth of Tammuz, or the birth of Horus, I can go on.
Yeah.
They're all born on December 25th because that's when the sun comes back to life. The only begotten son, the light of the world, is born again on December 25th. Now, you can argue if Jesus was real or not. That's not what I do. I don't believe he was. I believe he was an astrotheological sun god. However, you can argue that he was born during the Feast of the Tabernacles, the blowing of the trumpets. You can argue what day he was born. What I'm telling you is the science behind your stories that you have. Now, Leo is the king. He's the lion. He's the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you're talking about lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo, or the king of the savannah, the desert, whatever you want to call it. So the sun rules Leo. So what happens is in Cancer, the sign right before it, it's at its height. It's exalted at its height. And then it rules the next sun. So from Cancer to Leo, that's the glory of Jesus. That's the glory of the Son of God. That's when Jesus is flipping the money changing tables. That's when he's making everything uncomfortable. That's when he's doing everything. That's his power. That's the power in the hero's journey. So Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. Remember before when we said that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So there's keywords: virgin, woman, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn. These are all grainy things that you can look up. And in the northern hemisphere, in the Middle East, thousands of years ago, these were all cultivated at this exact season. This was harvest season. Now, Libra is the scales. It's the justice. It's the balance. It's the just one. The reason it's a justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. Remember, on the spring equinox, it's the pass over. It's being exalted. It's being celebrated because it's going to go back to its home. However, here, it's going down. It's being judged. It's being sentenced. So Libra is also wine season. And all you have to do, the Jews always celebrate the new year around the fall equinox, but all you really need to do is know that 8 days after the Jewish New Year, there's a day called Yom Kippur, which is when the Jews go to temple, they pray all day, they fast, and they beg God to keep them in the book of life for another year. When does this happen? It's called the Day of Judgment. Well, of course, the Day of Judgment happens in Libra, the judge, the justice. So law things: law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court. Libra is also wine season. This is when you crush the grapes to make the wine. You can go to any vineyard. If you're a young bachelorette, or if you're just a girl that lives near a vineyard, I guess guys go too sometimes, but mostly women. If you want to have fun at a vineyard, do not go in the spring, because that's when people do it. It gets warm. They're like, oh, let me go get some wine. No, because you'll walk up and down and everything is bare. Yeah. If you want to have a really good time, go in September, October. Go at the end of September, the beginning of October, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to walk down those vineyards and everything's going to be lush. You're going to be able to pluck the grapes directly off and eat them. That's when you go. So wine, vineyard, wine press, grapes. It's also olive oil season. This is when the olives are ripe and you crush them to make the oil. Incidentally, frankincense and myrrh are both olive plants as well. So when you're talking about the three wise men who are astrologers, who represent astrotheologically Orion's belt, They bring in frankincense and myrrh. That takes place during Libra. So Scorpio is the scorpion, and he is the betrayer. And the reason he is the betrayer is because when a scorpion bites you or stings you, and you can look this up online too, it's going to leave an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips. So it bites you or stings you. It looks like a pair of lips, but it's full of poison. So it's a kiss, but it's a poisoned kiss. It's a deeply encoded metaphor. And it's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. From what I've told you so far, Judas represents Scorpio. There's other astrological signs. There's 12 signs. There's 12 disciples. They each represent one. I'll give you a couple more examples. John the Baptist would be Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher, baptizing people. Gemini, the twins, right? Thomas Didymus. To'am in Hebrew, and you have to know Hebrew to be able to do what I do, which I'll teach you guys. To'am in Hebrew means twin, and Didymus in Greek means twin. So you have Scorpio, you have Judas, you have Thomas Didymus, Gemini, the twins, you have Aquarius, John the Baptist, and you have Simon Peter is Pisces. Why is Simon Peter Pisces? Well, why is his name Peter too? Your name is Jessica, it's shortened to Jess. Thomas, Tom, Michael, Mike, these names make sense, but Simon to Peter doesn't make sense unless you understand the astrology behind it. See, Simon's job, he was a fisherman. So you go to the zodiac and you find who the fish is, and that's Pisces. And then if you know astrology, you go to the ruling planet of Pisces, which is Jupiter or Jew, Peter. And if you think that they didn't do this on purpose, you have to understand is that this is all encoded in this particular way. There's a complete astrotheological bringing up of the Bible. So Sagittarius, okay, so back here. Okay, so Libra, it's judged. Then Scorpio, the sun is betrayed. And then you have Sagittarius, which is the man on the horse with the bow and the arrow. What happens is the man with the bow and the arrow shoots the sun and inflicts further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. So when they're talking about death, it happens in Sagittarius. Why? Because the last day of Sagittarius is December 21st.
Okay, we're going to stop it real quick right there. We're going to take a quick break here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back. Hold on, let's see if I can take that. And we'll be back with more with Micah Dank. After this, we are going through Astrotheology, the first time in the whole universe that has put it together. It looks like we got some Leos in the chat. Leo the Lions. But don't go anywhere, guys. Sagittarius. I'm a Scorpio Sagittarius cusper. I'm at the end of Scorpio, beginning of Sagittarius. If you guys want to drop your signs in the chat. We are going to have Navier on next week if you guys want to talk a little bit about astrology. Tomorrow night, Joe Roop on Lighting the Void has married Ducina, who is a fantastic astrologer. But do not go anywhere, guys. We will be right back after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Night Owls. We are live on KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM. This is Escape the Simulation Radio. I'm your host, Jess Rogie. Tonight, we are talking about a super interesting topic, and as Josh says, perhaps one of the biggest conspiracies in the world. Tonight, we're talking about astrotheology with Micah Dank, the astrotheologist. Get him back here. Let's get that back to it. All right, Micah, you ready? Look ready. Here we go.
The sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. I went over this with you before.
Yes.
But, so the day of death is December 21st. So when you're talking about horse, bow and arrow, spear, and I have an example of spear, I'll explain that, and horseman, that's Sagittarius. Remember, there's Sagittarius is the death, because that's December 21st, the last day of Sagittarius. That's a horseman. Jesus dies in 4 Gospels. He dies in Sagittarius 4 times. That's why there's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's all astrological. Now, oh, you know what? I have to minimize this. There we go. There we go. So Capricorn is the goat. And the reason he's the goat is because the goat climbs the mountain goat. On a steep ledge, it climbs the mountain. Now look at the zodiac wheel. Let me maximize this again so you guys can see it. So you have the zodiac wheel right here, right? Capricorn's at the bottom. If you start on December 25th, climbing a degree, going to the left, walking your way up the wheel, as the sun does, passing Aries at the Passover, making its way to its height in Cancer at the summer solstice, it starts to climb in Capricorn. It starts to climb up the great mountain in Capricorn. And incidentally, for people who haven't heard me talk about this before, June 21st is the first day of Cancer. In the sign Cancer, there's a group of stars called the Beehive Cluster. Well, bees make honey, right?
Yeah.
Well, Sagittarius, the last day of Sagittarius, is the day of death. It's the winter solstice. But what's in Sagittarius? The Milky Way galaxy. That's the milk. So your land of milk and honey is from the summer solstice to the winter solstice. It's that right side of the zodiac. It's not a place on heaven. It's a place in the sky. So I'm not going to do this part because this part, let me just continue. So basically what you need to know, I'm skipping over this right now, but what you basically need to know is that when I decode, I use those keywords for those 12 signs.
Okay.
That's it. And I also use Ptolemy's in 150 AD, came out with a list of 48 constellations that they knew about at the time. That includes the 13th sign, Ophiuchus. So it's all 13 signs. And then there was 30 whatever more. There's examples that they give. For example, they always talk about the horses and chariots, right? It's always the horse and the chariot. Well, who's the horse? Horse is Sagittarius, the man with the bow and arrow on the horse. But what is the chariot? Well, directly across from Sagittarius is the sign Gemini. And in Gemini, you have a constellation called Auriga, which is one of Ptolemy's 48. And that is known as the charioteer or the chariot. So although they're talking about chariot and horses, as above, so below, they also make a pattern in the heavens. Now, let's do the Epic of Gilgamesh. We're going to start with this. This is 6,000 years old. I'm going to bring you to current date stuff. I'm going to show you how this is the basis of everything. May the bear mourn you, the hyena, the panther, the leopard, deer, jackal, lion, wild bull, gazelle. May the rivers Ulaya and Euphrates mourn you, whose sacred waters we offer to the gods. May the young men of the great walled Uruk mourn you, who cheered when we slaughtered the bull of heaven. Gee, who's the bull of heaven? Would that be Taurus?
Taurus.
May the farmer mourn you, who praised you to the skies in his harvest song. May the shepherd mourn you, who brought you milk. May the brewer mourn you, who made you fine beer. May Ishtar's priestess, incidentally, Ishtar was a fertility god, had to do with eggs too, right? Ishtar is where we get Easter from. Ishtar worship. Priestess mourn you, who messaged you with sweet-smelling oil. May the wedding guests mourn you like their own brother. You should be able to pick up a couple of the signs here, but let's break this down. So the bear is Ursa Major, the great bear, Gemini and Cancer. That's where it's located. The hyena is Elkanan, the hyena, and it's 3 knots in Draco's tail. Draco's the dragon, and it goes from Aries to Sagittarius. The panther is in Lanthropedia. The panther is made up of 26 stars. The leopard is a constellation called Camelopardalis, which is one of the major ones. Now, Camelopardalis breaks down into 2 words. Camelos for camel, or pardalis, which means leopard. So it's the camel leopard. In fact, the giraffe used to be called camelopardalis because the ancients would look at this thing and they'd be like, it's a camel leopard. And if you think about it, that's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
So the giraffe used to be called the camel leopard, and it's in Gemini. Mriga, or deer, is located in Orion, which sits between Taurus and Gemini. Lion is Leo. The wild bull is Taurus. The rivers are Pisces. The water sign that signifies water. The bull of heaven is Taurus. The shepherd is Aries, as previously mentioned. The milk comes from the Milky Way galaxy, whose center is in Sagittarius. The brewer and the fine beer is made from barley, which is harvested in Virgo. Ishtar's priestess, the woman, is Virgo. And the sweet-smelling oil, I told you the oil was Libra. The mourning of their own brother is Gemini, the brothers. So you have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Sagittarius. These are four of the four major points on the zodiac. You have the solstices and the equinox that form the cross. Through the zodiac, the cross of God's Son. This is the cross that Jesus, the Son of God, the light of the world, the only begotten Son, carries, because it has the solstices and the equinoxes. Now, we have Gemini, Cancer, Aries to Sagittarius, which is Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, and Sagittarius. You have Taurus, Leo, Pisces, Virgo. There's 10 out of 12 zodiac signs in this one passage. The only two it's missing are Scorpio, the scorpion, and Capricorn, the goat. But this is how dense this stuff gets. Now, Astrotheology and Enki in the World Order. This is another Sumerian tablet, which is not quite as old as Gilgamesh, I don't believe, but it is just as old, basically. Father Enki, engendered by a bull, begotten by a wild bull. Great dragon, who stands in Eridug. A grove of vines extending over the land, where stags are born, where wild goats are born, in meadows. You close up the days and make the months enter their houses. So the bull is Taurus. The dragon and its tail goes from Aries to Sagittarius. The stag is the deer, which is Mriga, which is in Orion, which is between Taurus and Gemini. So look at what we have so far. Sagittarius, okay, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signs in a row, just based on this. The goats are Capricorn. Capricorn comes before Aquarius. That's 6 signs. And Sagittarius being the 7th one. There's 7 signs right here in this one tablet. Now, there's a third tablet that I did, which is Enki and Minhur Saja. In Dilmun, the raven was not yet cawing, the partridge not cackling, the lion did not slay, the wolf was not carrying off lambs, the dog had not been taught to make kids curl up, the pig had not learned that grain was to be eaten. So the raven is the constellation Corvus, which means raven and borders Virgo. The lion is Leo. Leo and Virgo are connecting signs, so there's a pattern there. The wolf is the constellation Lupus, which borders Libra. So now you have Leo, Virgo, and Libra. That's 3 signs in a row. The lamb is Aries, which is the wolf's opposing sign. In the Bible, don't they tell you, behold, I send you as sheep amongst the wolves? Well, the sheep is Aries. And the wolf is the constellation Lupus, which is in Libra. Those are opposing signs, so it makes a pattern in the sky. The dog is Canis Major, which is 11 stars in Cancer. Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. 4 signs in a row. The pig is a constellation called Porcus, which is in the southern sky, which disappears April 1st. Supposedly discovered by the Greeks in the 5th century BC, yet the Chinese have had it in their zodiac just as long, if not longer. So I've shown you just now that it's in the Sumerian tablets. Let's check the Babylonian. This is the Enuma Elish. Then Tiamat enlisted a horned snake, a Mushusu dragon, a mad dog, and scorpion man, half fish, half man, half bull. The horned snake is Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. It's a snake. A dragon is Draco. The mad dog is the dog star Sirius. And the scorpion man is a mix between Scorpio, the scorpion, and Aquarius, the man. Half man, half fish is Aquarius, the man. The fish is Pisces. Aquarius and Pisces are connecting signs. Half man, half bull is half Aquarius, half Taurus.
Okay. Let's take a quick break right now before we get into the next book. So stay tuned, everybody. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're
not actually taking a break. thought I had that timed well, but
Micah,
nope.
your camera went out. Can we get that back on?
Yeah, hold on. Hold on a sec.
We're gonna get that.
I don't know why
it's
doing this. It's acting up.
Ugh.
I've been trying to. Crap. Hold on.
He'll get it. Don't worry, Micah will get it.
Oh, here it is.
All right, thank you, Micah. Nope.
Takes a minute.
Okay, no problem.
Takes time sometimes.
Yeah.
There we go. Yay! Welcome back.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Please continue.
The Code of Hammurabi. A lot of people have this interesting thought about the Bible. They think that, for example, they tell you not to mix two fabrics, right? There's a real science reason why you shouldn't be doing that. And I study with modern day science. This is ancient wisdom that we lost and we're getting it back. However, the punishment should not be death. However, you have to realize is that the Bible has ancient wisdom. So much wisdom in it. However, is a problem. And at the times, a lot, including modern day stuff now, the punishments aren't exact, but we get the sort of justice that when people are wronged, what they can do to make it right from the Code of Hammurabi, still to this day. Now, it's a Babylonian text. If a man has stolen ox or sheep or ass, the temple or the palace, he shall pay 30-fold. The man's sign is Aquarius, the ox is Taurus, the sheep is Aries. Aries and Taurus are connecting signs. The donkey is in Cancer. The pig is a constellation called Porcus. The ship, I was telling you about Ptolemy's 150 AD 48 constellation list. The ship is a constellation called Argo that goes from Cancer to Scorpio. So there's 7 signs in this one passage. So we did the Sumerians, now we're working our way through the Babylonians, and now we're at the Egyptian Book of the Dead. O mighty of knives, lady of the two lands, the one who smashes the enemies of the weary-hearted one, the one who does what is wise, the one free of wrong. The name of its gatekeeper is Long-Horned Bull. What is to be said when arriving at the 5th portal? Words spoken by the Osiris Ani, the vindicated, O fiery one, mistress of heat, the joyful one, the one whom the entities of the bald-headed do not descend, the one who asks that something be given to her without the swift glance entering into her. The name of its gatekeeper is one who spears the disaffected. The lady is Virgo, the woman. The long-horned bull is Taurus, the bull. Now, the spear I mentioned to you earlier represents Sagittarius because Sagittarius represents death, December 21st, the last day, and the spear is an instrument of death. How is the spear an instrument of death? The spear was very important. The 2 most important deaths in the Bible have to do with a spear. And anyone can really debate me on this, but the 2 most important deaths of the Bible was Jesus being hit in the side with the spear of destiny, and the first murder, Cain and Abel. Those are the 2 most important murders in the Bible. Now, Cain hit Abel over the head with a rock and then buried him. But the name Cain in Hebrew translates to spear. This is all deeply encoded stuff. So the spear is the instrument of death. Chapter for becoming Ptah, eating bread, drinking beer, purifying the hinder parts, and being alive in Heliopolis. What will you live on, say the gods and spirits to me? I will live and have power through bread. Where will you eat it, say the gods and spirits to me? I will have power, and I will eat it under the branches of the tree of Hathor, my mistress, who made an offering of bread, beer, and corn in Heliopolis. Those who are in Heliopolis bow their heads to me, for I am their Lord, I am their bull. So the bread and the beer, the wheat and the barley, and corn is all Virgo when you harvest. Interesting that they mentioned all 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
The bull is Taurus. Now, Heliopolis is the city of light in Egypt. It was called On, O-N. That's why when you go into a room today, still to this day, to become enlightened, to get light in your life, you turn the lights on. That's where it comes from. In fact, Solomon, the king, Solomon, was not a real person. Solomon is a combination of 3 words for the sun. Sol, which means sun in Latin. Om, which is the light of the syllable of the word Om, which is in the Upanishads you'll find. It's the sun. And An. It was actually Sol, Om, An. It's 3 names for the sun.
Huh.
All these Bible stories are different ways of talking about the sun. They're different ways of talking about it. Just to give you another example, not to veer off topic too much, but if you want to talk about Samson and Delilah, again, you have to know Hebrew in order to understand this. Samson in Hebrew, his name was Shimshon. That means little son. And Delilah, the root word of Delilah, the name is Lila. And Lila in Hebrew means night. So when you say goodnight to someone in Hebrew, you say Laila Tov, which direct translation means night good, but it means good night. So what is the story of Samson and Delilah, the little son and the night? What does she do? Well, she betrays him. He gets his hair cut. He goes blind. Mm-hmm. It's the story of the sun being sent to the underworld by the night and being overtaken by the night. That's what it is. They're all stories about the sun. They're all deeply encoded. In fact, it's the same story as Horus said. Horus takes his 12 steps across the sky. That's why you have Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker.
And he takes his 12 steps across the sky, the 12 hours during the day, and then he gets chased into the underworld by Set. That's why you have a sunset. You have to understand the etymology behind this stuff too. For the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, I could do this for hours. There's so much quantum physics and so much in this, but I only picked a couple. So free as a menti to the Son of Man. Notice here how he said Son of Man. Just how it's supposed to be accurately. As above, so below. Deep beneath the rocks, I buried my spaceship, waiting the time when man might be free. Over the spaceship erected a marker in the form of a lion, yet like unto man. There neath the image rested yet my spaceship, forth to be brought when need shall arise. When you really start to deep dive into this kind of stuff and you talk about Hermes and Thoth and you get into all this kind of stuff, you'll learn that there's an interdimensional spaceship from Thoth that is 3 atoms thick in our universe. And it is buried under one of the chambers of the Sphinx that we know of. They will not let you dig under the Sphinx. They don't want this coming out. But astrotheologically, the lion is Leo and the man is Aquarius. These are opposing signs. So it makes another pattern. The Book of Enoch. I could do hours on this too. But you'll see why they remove. People are always asking, why did they remove the Book of Enoch?
Yeah.
Who was Enoch? Enoch was the man who first got taken. So there's only a couple people that got taken alive into heaven. Enoch was the first. In the Bible, it says he lived X amount of years, for he was not, for God took him. So Enoch was brought up. When you get the Kabbalah and you get into all that stuff, you realize that he becomes the angel Metatron. Mm-hmm. That's Enoch. The second one gets brought up as Elijah. The third one is Jesus. So there's your Trinity right there. But this is why they don't have, this is why the Book of Enoch is only in the Ethiopian Bible at this point, because they openly talk about astrology. Chapter 8:2. Samjaza taught enchantments. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakiel taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Sariel, the course of the moon. Right? 51:4. And in those days shall the mountains leap like rams. The rams are Aries. And the hills shall also skip like lambs. The lambs are baby rams. That's Aries. Satisfied with milk. That's the Milky Way galaxy. The Gospel of Q. Give us our daily bread today. Which of you would give your child a stone if they ask for bread? Or would you give them a snake if they ask for fish? The bread is Virgo. The snake is Ophiuchus. And the fish is Pisces. Pisces and Virgo are opposing signs. We have all this kind of stuff. It's all deeply encoded in this stuff. For example, there's a passage in, I think it's in Revelation. I don't know if you recall this, if you have a Bible upbringing, but they're talking about how the serpent bites the heel of the horse and the man falls off. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, you have Ophiuchus, which sits between Scorpio and Sagittarius. If you look at Ophiuchus, it's a man holding up a basket, and the snake's head is facing this way. It's literally facing the horse's heel. So the snake will bite the horse's heel, and the rider will fall off. They're connecting signs. So it's all there. Everyone who divorces his wife and remarries is unfaithful to her, and whoever marries someone who is divorced is unfaithful to. Which of you, if you had 100 sheep and lost one of them, would leave the 99 in the hills and go after the one that got lost? So divorce, marriage, court, law, all that stuff, that's Libra. The sheep is Aries, and lo and behold, they're opposing signs. So another pattern. This is the secret gospel of John, so we're doing all the Gnostic texts now. Sophie saw what her desire produced. It changed into the form of a dragon with a lion's head. Dragon is the sign of Draco. It goes from Aries to Sagittarius. The lion's head is Leo the lion. Aquarius, which is part of Draco, and Leo are opposing signs. The Gospel of Thomas. Happy is the lion that a man will eat. The lion will become a man. Cursed is the man whom the lion eats, for that lion will become a man. Talking about ingesting an animal and their components will become part of you, or part of them always. However, in astrology, the lion is the sign Leo, and the sign of the man is Aquarius. These are opposing signs of the zodiac. Most of our modern day entertainment, or a lot of it, just plays on zodiac. Lion taming, you have the man Aquarius and the lion Leo. Those are opposing signs. You have bullfighting, which is Moloch sacrifice in Spain. You have bullfighting. You have bull riding. That is, you have the running of the bulls.
Yeah.
The man Aquarius, and that's the bull Taurus. You have fishing. That's the man Aquarius, and Pisces the fish. Those are connecting signs. If you're a woman and you're fishing, you're Virgo and Pisces, the woman and the fish. Well, those are opposing signs. So connecting signs and opposing signs, no matter how you look at it. That's what mermaids are. Mermaids are basically half man or half woman, half fish. They make these patterns too. There's just a ton of stuff that they do. Shepherding, the man and the sheep, Aquarius and Aries. It's as above, so below. So man is like a skilled angler who casts his net and draws it up full of fish. They're talking about man Aquarius and the sign of fish, Pisces. They are connecting signs. So the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Mary questioned her master, at the end of an eon will all matter be destroyed. Each zodiac sign is considered a house. So the house of Aquarius, the house of Pisces. Each sign is also called a mansion. In the Bible, they say, in my father's home, there are mansions. It's called an eon. It's called an epoch. It's called an era. There's different words for it, but they're talking about zodiac signs. Luke 22:10, he replied, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to his house that he's entered. So in Luke 22:10, the disciples are asking Jesus where they can meet him for Passover. He tells them to find a man carrying a water jar in the city and follow him to his house. Well, who's the man with the water pitcher? That's Aquarius. And his house is the sign Aquarius. So he's telling them the age of Pisces is coming to an end. You're going to meet me in Aquarius. However, what you have to realize, too, is that back in the day, things were extraordinarily gendered. Like, extraordinarily gendered. A man would never be caught dead carrying water. It was a feminine job. It was So the fact that they're physically telling you a man carrying a jar of water tells you that this is literally what they're talking about. Now the Gospel of Philip. When he came to his disciples in splendid glory on the Mount of Olives, he wasn't small. He became great and made his disciples great so they could see him in his greatness. On that day, he said in gratitude, you who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite us with the angels as well. Don't scorn the Lamb. Without him, it's impossible to know the King. No one may visit the King without robes of light. So the olives are in Libra. The Lamb is Aries. These are opposing signs. The Good Samaritan gave wine and oil to the weak man. Wine and oil, that's all Libra. So the Gospel of Judas.
Let's stop it right there because we're about to head into a commercial break. I hope you guys are catching all this. Micah is really breaking it down. I'll read a couple comments before we head out to the break here. Tommy G says, a calendar in the heavens, plant now, harvest later. Coach Chris over in the Discord chat says, as above, so below. Joshua says, a quote from Rage Against the Machine. This is for the people of the sun. So also, if you guys have questions for Micah, drop them in the chat. We'll forward them to Micah and we'll get those answered for you. But so far, we've done Sumerian text, We've done the Emerald Tablets. We've done also these Gnostic texts. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more with Micah here on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM, on Escape the Simulation Radio. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Hey Donald, you just tweeted that you finally heard our show, Live Talk with Alex.
All right, Night Owls, we're back live on KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM. This is Escape the Simulation Radio. I'm Jess Rogie, just after 11 here on the West Coast. Tonight we got Micah Dank joining us. We're going over 6,000 years of astrotheology. Right before the break, we just started talking about the Gospel of Judas. So let's get back into it. Let's bring Micah back on.
The nearby lake of still waters quenched our thirst. The place reminded us of David's famed shepherd psalm. Our souls were restored. The lake of still waters is Pisces, the water. The shepherd is Aries. These are connecting signs. The book of Jubilees. All right, so in order to understand this, we have to go back to, what am I on, 65? Okay, I have to go back because I have to show you the zodiac wheel. So where are you? Right here.
Yep.
Right here. Okay. Jess, do you see these dividing lines between the signs?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Those don't exist. You're not looking out in the sky, in the heavens right now. First of all, you have to understand, when you look out into the heavens, the reason that the zodiac is so important is because this is all you can see. From our vantage point, everything is encased. You cannot look outside the zodiac. So when they're talking about constellations, they're within certain signs. So you just got to find out within certain signs they are and then make the patterns. These lines don't exist. They're not in the heavens. What they represent is something called the cusp or a handover date, if you heard it, either of them. What it is it's the last 3 days of a sign and the first 3 days of the next sign, because the energies blend into each other. So when they tell you you're a cusp, you have energy from the previous sign or the forward sign. You have 12 signs. You have 4 seasons. You have 3 signs in each season. The first sign is the cardinal sign. That's why there's cardinals in church. The second sign is the fixed sign, because it's fixed in their season. And the third sign is the mutable sign. It takes you out of the sign. Now, each of these signs can be broken down into 3 10-day segments called deacons. Okay, so church doesn't know about astrology. This is why you have cardinals and deacons as members of your church, because it's astrology and they don't know it. Now, when you're talking about Jesus, for example, let's look at this wheel real quick. What's Aquarius? Well, when Jesus, the Son of God, S-U-N, is in Aquarius, he is the Son of Man. The next one is Pisces. When he's in Pisces, he's the fisherman of men. And it's the 2 fish. This is why he feeds the masses with 2 fish on the mount. Aries, he's the Lamb of God, or the Good Shepherd. Cancer is the crab, but in the Egyptian times, it was the scarab. St. Augustine, in his works, called Jesus the Good Beetle. Then next is Leo. He's the Lion of Judah. Virgo, he's the bread of life, the wheat stalk. He's known as born of a virgin. Libra is the scales of justice. He's known as the just one. These are all names in church that they give him. And it's all astrology. It's all astrology. It's wild that people don't ever question this. But my point was simply this. If I go to here and I read you this, and on the second day, he created the firmament in the midst of the waters. And the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went above and half of them went below the firmament. The firmament is not a dome over a flat earth. This is where a lot of truthers have A lot of truthers, there's a dome over. There is not. The firmament are these dividing lines between signs. Now, I'm going to show you how this is it. He created the firmament in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went above, half of them went below. Look at this firmament right here. These are the two waters, Aquarius and Pisces. He created the firmament and the waters above Aquarius and the waters below Pisces. This is just talking about the creation of the first two signs that I explained. This is the firmament. This is what it is. And I'm going to get hate mail for it.
You might.
I don't care, because this is what. Now, the Gospel of Emmanuel, this is discovered by Billy Meyer, so your audience is going to like this.
Yeah.
So, Gospel of Emmanuel of Billy Meyer. Billy Meyer was in the 70s. He was a UFO guy, and he took some pictures that are very controversial to this day of these like saucer-shaped things in the sky. Well, later on in his life, he went to Israel with a colleague, and apparently, on a tip, he went and he dug a hole in a location. I don't know the whole story. But he found this Gospel of Emmanuel. I'm going to read it to you because you would think that, you know, the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith, the Golden Tablets, it's a little, you got to make leaps of faith just so you can get through the door with this, with a lot of this stuff. But the Gospel of Emmanuel does have something interesting that I'm going to show you. Are we still good on time?
Yeah, we're still good on time. We got about 6 minutes to break.
All right, cool. You brood of vipers, in 2 times 1,000 years, you and your descendants who carry on false teachings out of your own pride from motives of power and greed shall be punished and your lives destroyed. So it will be when the human race begins to comprehend and separates the wheat from the chaff. The wheat is Virgo. That's where you separate the wheat from the chaff. This is astrotheology. The false teachings are the literal teachings they make. But as Emmanuel predicts, that in 2,000 years, the truth will come to light. That's now. All this stuff is starting to come out now. This is the passage we hear often. It tells you that in the New Age Aquarius, this has been predicted to come to light. Now, nevertheless, do not heed these false teachings, because millennia will pass before people of these human races will be able to recognize the truth. This is what a lot of people are coming out and talking about. Hence, following the fulfillment of your mission. Centuries and 2 millennia will pass before the truth of your knowledge brought among the people will be recognized and disseminated by some humans. Okay, this is what I wanted to get with you. This earth can nourish and support 500 million people of all the human races. But if
now this gets kind of interesting, because you're like, oh, where did they get this number?
These laws are not followed in 2,000 years. 10 times 500 million people will exist, and the earth will not be able to support them anymore. Where have we heard the 500 million? This gospel was discovered in 1963.
63.
This was created in 1980. This is the number they all use.
Is that the number on if you guys are listening, you guys can't see this, but it's the Georgia Guidestones.
Correct. The first commandment. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with the nature. I've been trying to figure out where they're getting this number 500 million from. From what I get, it's this gospel. Look at this. 500 million people 2,000 years ago. But if these laws are not followed, in 2,000 years or now, 10 times 500 million people will exist. 5 billion.
How many people are on Earth now? Is that is that about right?
Closer to 8. But when this came out, it was closer to 5.
Shit.
This is where I think they got it from. 2533. Since the human races will at that time comprise far more than 10 times 500 million people, great parts of them will be eradicated and killed. And this is what you see with like Yuval Noah Harari, because Klaus Schwab is just a figurehead at this point. He's 86. They don't think he's going to go through with it. He's too old.
Yeah.
Right? Even Soros is giving it to his son. They're running out of adrenochrome. They're going to die. These people are going to die.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen, basically. But this is where I think the 500 million comes from. Truly I say to you, wait, let me see, hold on. Yeah. Truly I say to you, from now on I will no longer drink of the fruit of the vineyard, nor eat of the bread until I drink and eat again with you after my affliction. So the grapes are Libra, the bread of Virgo, these are connecting signs. So these are still making patterns. So whether or not you think the Gospel of Emmanuel is garbage, or you think it's nonsense, it still follows the astrotheology, which is kind of like the litmus test that I've been putting everything. The Quran. I have a few examples. You want to pause here because I have a few examples of this?
Yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back
with
more with Micah Dank. Don't go anywhere, guys.
We're not taking a break. My timing was way off. We got like 15 more minutes.
I know where the break is.
No, we do this. We'll let that just kind of play through for a second. Yeah, but let's get back to the Quran.
Yeah, Micah Dank. We are talking astrotheology, and right before the break, we're about to dive into the Quran.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, we are. Let's just do it. 118.
Let's do it.
Those who do not know say, why has not the Lord turned the word to us? And why will he not show us a sign from heaven? Similar words were spoken by those who came before them. Their hearts are alike. We interpret the signs for those who are committed to faith. When you understand this is all astrology, this makes literal sense instead of going into the heavens and just pulling metaphorical ideas out of this. So they're literally talking about God showing them a sign or interpreting for them. And how beautiful all people see the love and earthly passions. Here are women and sons. There are mountains of silver and gold, and marked horses and herds of cattle and a plowed field. So the women are Virgo, the sign of the woman. The sons are the boys in Gemini. Horses are Sagittarius, and cattle is Taurus. A plowed field is Taurus as well. Taurus and Gemini are connecting signs, and Gemini and Sagittarius are opposing signs. Jess, it's even in the Quran. This breaks down even in the Quran. What I talk about in my books, book series, in my second book, is I explain where Islam came from, and basically what happened was, just spoiler alert, there was a Jesuit priest that defected. His name was Alberto Rivera. He was poisoned shortly after this came out. You can't find his books anymore, but I have one. And he talked about it, and I explained this in deep detail. What he said he heard from the highest of the high is that back in the day, because in the 10th century, the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians were all living together in Europe peacefully. But what he said was that back in the day, the Catholic Church propped and elevated Muhammad and built a religion around him in order to gather people to use them to get Jerusalem back from the Jews. And then eventually it blew up in population. They couldn't control it anymore. That's why you're seeing everything with the New World religion. You're seeing Chrislam, where the word Chrislam, you're seeing it now. You're seeing pictures of Pope John Paul kissing the Quran, because they know they're trying to bury this. They're trying to bury the fact that they created this. And it's based on astrology too. The 72 virgins, Jess, you've heard about them, right?
Yeah.
The 72 virgins. There's a constellation called 70 Virginis that borders Virgo. So that's your 70 virgins. Virgo is the 71st virgin. And your 72nd virgin is the virgin that you find on earth, marry, and have a family. Those are your 72. That's all you need. You're not going to have 72 virgins in heaven. That's not how this works. Verily, in the creation. What's up?
I said, wow. No, I just never heard that before. So I'm like, whoa. It's all astrotheology, man.
Yep. Verily, in the creation of earth and sky, and in the change of night to day, here are the hidden signs. Here are the hidden signs for those who have intelligence. They're teasing you with it. They're telling you it's about the signs. And among them, there are those who only pretending to you, put a cover on their hearts so that they would not understand it. And we cover their ears with deafness. And even if they see all the signs, they will not believe them. See how many of these they're just openly teasing you about? Here is the one who brings down water to you from the sky. And with it we give plants of all kind to grow. And with it we grow shoots of cereals. From them we grew grains, sitting in an ear of dents side by side. From the date palm, its ovaries, bunches of fruit hanging low, gardens of vines, olives, pomegranates, which in many ways are so similar yet so different from each other. When fruits appear on them, rejoice in how they are poured and ripen. Here we go. Truly in this are hidden signs for those who believed in God. So the grains are planted in Taurus. Then what happens in Taurus? April showers bring May flowers, water from the sky. The grains grow. You reap in Virgo. Gardens of vines and olives. Grapes and olives are pressed in Libra. These are the hidden signs they're talking about. It's a very simple cipher. You have to do a lot of research to get to that level, but I'm just sharing it now freely with anyone who will listen. It's quite simple. It's really just astrotheology. And whoever wants to own a beautiful garden, we're still in the Quran, by the way. Yes. And whoever wants to own a beautiful garden of date, palms, and vines, which is washed by abundant streams, wherefore his pleasure all kinds of fruits, while old age befalls him, and the children are weak, so that a fiery whirlwind falls on the garden and swallows it all to ashes. So the Lord explains his signs to you so that you can understand. So the vines are the vineyards in Libra. The streams are the streams in the water sign Pisces. These are God explaining the 12 signs so you can understand, so you understand. How many times in the Bible is Jesus talking to his, I know I'm jumping back to the Bible, but how many times in the Bible is Jesus talking to his disciples? And he turns to them frustrated and he says, why can't you understand? I am not talking about bread. Well, of course he's not. He's talking about Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. He's talking about that harvest season. So the Book of Mormon, even the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Nevertheless, I went forth, and as I came near unto the house of Laban, I beheld a man, and he had fallen to the earth before me, for he was drunken with wine. Yea, and I also thought that they could not keep the commandments of the Lord according to the law of Moses, save they should have the law. Both wine and lawly things take place in Libra. This is a passage metaphorically referencing Libra. And my father said he should baptize in Bethabra, beyond Jordan. And he also said he should baptize with water, even that he should baptize the Messiah with water. And after he had baptized the Messiah with water, he should behold and bear record that he had baptized the Lamb of God who should take away the sins of the world. The baptism is literally Aquarius. The man pouring out the water pitcher, the Lamb of God, is Aries. Now, I just wanted to bring this up to you real quick.
Yeah.
They talk about Jesus being born on December 25th. And then you have people who think they're smart, and they'll tell you he was born on a different day. But I don't really care what day you think it fits into the storyline. This is the science behind your stories. This is it. And what I'm trying to share is, for example, Jesus born on December 25th. Let's go back. What am I on? What slide am I on? Oh, shnikes. Hold on. Okay, 82. So let's go back to this. I want to make another point.
Okay.
Okay, where is it? I hate dead silence. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go.
Okay. It's okay.
So Capricorn, right? Capricorn.
Okay.
That's December 25th in Capricorn. Now, John the Baptist in John 3:30 says, he must increase and I must decrease. Why does he say that?
Mm-hmm.
If you know that Jesus is born on December 25th, then you'll know, if you look up a Catholic calendar, that St. John's Day is June 24th. So you're in Capricorn for Jesus, and you're in Cancer for John the Baptist. Now, as you start to go to the left from Capricorn, and as you start to go to the right from Cancer, as you're moving along during the days, doesn't one increase and one decrease?
Yes.
It's really that simple, Jess. It's really that simple. It can be applied to everything. Nevertheless, I went forth, and as I came near unto the house of Laban, I beheld a man, and he had fallen to the earth before me, for he was drunk. Oh, we did this one already.
Yeah. Next one.
Sorry. And after the house of Israel should be scattered, they should be gathered together again. Or in fine, after the Gentiles had received the fullness of the gospel, the natural branches of the olive tree or the remnants of the house of Israel should be grafted in or come to the knowledge of the true Messiah, their Lord and their Redeemer. Therefore, remember, O man, for all thy doings, thou shalt be brought into judgment. The olives take place in Libra, the judgment takes place in Libra. It's really, yep. And my father said he should baptize. Did I do this? Yeah. And I looked and beheld the Lamb of God, that he was taken by the people. Yeah, the Son of the everlasting God, was judged of the world. And I saw and bear record. The Lamb of God is Aries. Mm-hmm. The Son of God, or the Son of Man, is Aquarius. Judgment takes place in Libra. Libra and Aries are opposing signs. So what I've just done is taken you through 6,000 years of all the ancient texts in an hour and showed you how this is the heartbeat that drives everything. These are the stories underneath the level. Now, I had so much work that I've done with this that I actually have a book series that I actually teach this stuff continuously to new people in fiction, because I've studied, like Philip K. Dick with Minority Report. I've studied all the greats. 1984, Animal Farm. I've studied all these, and I realized that if you want to bring this to new people and red pill them without them realizing it, you have to do it in fiction. So my book series blends these topics: gematria, etymology, numerology, astronomy, astrology, astrotheology, out-of-body experiences, the Akashic records, symbology, remote viewing, religious secrets, capstones of the pyramids, DNA encoding, mystery school channelers, near-death experiences, DMT monitoring, lucid dreaming, acoustic levitation, physics and quantum physics, psychotherapy, psychology, spiritual guides, shared dreaming, and crystal technology, conspiracies that not many people know about, corruption and secret societies. That's just a handful of stuff that I talk about. This is my series. It's called Into the Rabbit Hole. And from the top left going to the right, these are the books that I have. And they're very educational. They're fun. I have a kids' astrotheology book, A is for Aries. What I usually like to do, and I have a website. If you guys are interested, I have my book series on it. I have all these videos that I've done on astrotheology. I've got all my social media. I've got a contact information at the bottom of it, so you can send me an email and I'll write back to you. I also sell signed sets of the books. I just sold a couple yesterday.
Nice.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to teach this to people. But this is the most important quote I found so far. My point, once again, is not that those ancient people told literal stories and we are not smart enough to take them symbolically, but that they told them symbolically and we are now dumb enough to take them literally. And Jess, that's what I got. That's my latest presentation.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Micah. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments about this and, different questions. I always get great feedback when you're on. Can you tell everybody what your website address is? And
yes.
And if there's social media, if you want people to reach out to you on social
my social media, all my links, my books, my links. I think I have some merch from Etsy on there too. You don't have to get anything, but like I have a YouTube channel. It's called Micah Dank Truth Bombs. That's on the website too. It's called debunkmywork.com.
Nice. Debunkmywork.com, guys. I want to give a huge thank you to Micah Dank. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I'm so glad we were able to work this out because we haven't talked on the air in like maybe, a year or so.
Yeah, it's been about that.
It's been about that, right? So until next time, guys, we'll bring Micah Dank back and you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
All right. So that was Micah Dank, ladies and gentlemen. Micah will be back in a couple weeks here. He's going to do like a whole breakdown of astrotheology, like a high level view of it. If you guys have questions for Micah, you can drop them in the chat. I will forward them on because I'm going to text him tomorrow and let him know how tonight went. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. It gives you a lot to think about, and there's a lot of these texts that I never heard of before, or not that I haven't heard of, but I've never actually read because I haven't read a lot of religious texts myself. But let me drop his links in the chat for you guys. They're also in the description below. Also, I'll put that out for the podcasters too, but you can head over to debunkmywork.com. He also has the Into the Rabbit Hole series, which is on Amazon, which I've dropped a link in the chat there too. On YouTube, it's Micah Dank's Truth Bombs. Yeah, so I found that super interesting. We're going to take a quick break here in just a moment. We come back, we're going to do open chat as we wrap up the evening. Think about what you guys want to talk about. I figured I'd also mention that tomorrow night we have GG and JP scheduled from Shift Happens. They're going to be hanging out with us on Thursday night. And then next week, we got a whole new lineup for you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So was Jesus real? I will ask Micah what he thinks about that. Because I don't know. Some people say he was a real man. But I'll pass that along for you. Because Jess doesn't know. I don't know much about the Bible, guys. I'm not a Christian person myself. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take this last break here tonight. When we come back, open chat, guys. What you want to talk about?
Hey, Donald. YouTube recently banned our talk show host from their platform. Any idea why?
They're trying to take you out with bullshit.
Well put, Mr. President. KTLK, The Fringe FM.